with the client, I mean, if it's unrealistic, then you're not going to be able to achieve what they want, and in the end, it's not going to be successful. So like from the start point, you should always, tell the client like what you can do for them and what you think is the best option, and just be as honest as possible.
Be professional, but still try and be their friend, because even if your work's crap, if the client likes you, then they'll keep hiring you, and there comes issues into that with pay and stuff, because it's awkward asking people who you formed a friendship with about money. But I think, just try and be a nice guy and work hard and check your emails.
What you want to do is to keep the process transparent, keep them involved as much as possible throughout each stage of the project, so that, as I sort of touched upon earlier, that there aren't any horrible surprises for the client, that you're allowing them to see far enough upstream of what you're doing, that when you arrive where you said you'd arrive, that they're comfortable with that. So it's just about managing expectations, being honest, and building on that trust.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, because so much is done over email, and it's hard to tell whether someone's being aggressive because they're actually angry or just because they're under a lot of pressure. You don't know who they're working for, because a lot of the time your client is the client of they've got someone that they're working for and they're under a lot of pressure. So don't get stressed out by things, because it's not usually personal. I mean, it can be, but it's just business, just try and be cool about it, and not get overly frustrated or angry, because it's just the way that it goes, and you can't avoid, there's always going to be disagreements.
So I had a client before that I was doing a job for, and they had an outside, or a partner they were producing this project with, and it was the partner that was causing all the problems. They kept coming back with nitty-gritty changes, and that really annoyed me. That it was a very simple postcard and poster campaign, but it took longer than I think I've ever spent on a poster campaign. And that particular, I won't ever work for them again, the other partner, because it was just horrible.
I think it's by breaking a project up into smaller sort of bite-sized parts, kind of allows the client to be involved in the process of going from A to B, rather than just arriving at B and it being sort of shocking to the client. If you're able to involve them in the process and they can see the journey that you've gone on, that's not to say they'll always agree with the destination, and there are times where they want to make a change and they feel strongly about it. I think as a designer, you learn sort of in your professional life not to become too precious. It's easy to you put so much of yourself into your work that it's easy sort of early on in your career to be hurt by the fact that someone might not like what you've done. I mean, that's sort of a natural kind of reaction. But I think you learn to let go and to be more of a craftsman that's trying to translate people's insights, and it's not all about you.
I mean, the worst thing is when a client just has no grasp on time and how long it takes to do things, and the fact that things take research, and even though it might not seem like it, everything's there for a reason. I mean, you can I've produced work for people and they've been like, yeah, but can you make it not just an image with some text over it? And I'm like, it's not just an image with some text over it. like took me quite a long time to research that. But so yeah, just kind of like conscientiousness and not necessarily understanding of the design process, because that's kind of unreasonable, but just flexibility and.
Okay, obviously this is something that develops over time. I mean, trust is fundamental. Hopefully, if you're in a sort of fortunate position to be working with a client, then you've already gained some sort of level of trust, and hopefully they'll sort of look to your expertise and be able to take on boards, your opinions. I mean, essentially, the design process, in my mind, is a collaborative process.
So when a client has unrealistic expectations of what you can do in a certain time, then it becomes really difficult. And then you get to a point where you're in the middle of the project, it's not as far along as you would have hoped, and then that's when things can get like communication can break down. And the minute that happens, like when you stop replying to their emails or whatever, because you're like either trying to work on the job and you want to be left alone, or their communication, you're not getting anything back from them. When that does happen, I mean, it's unfortunate. I've managed to, like, when it's happened with clients before, but you get over it. You get through that project, and I have a great relationship with those clients now. Some of them, one or two maybe. I look back at my old work and I see that all the time, but I mean, it was my old work, and it only makes you better when you kind of look at what you've done before and try and improve on it. Isn't that the whole point?
I've made some compromises. I mean, there was, I won't say the client, but I was doing an invite for a drinks company that they were putting on an event. And basically, at the start of the kind of briefing, when they were telling me about what they wanted, they sent me an example of this thing that they really liked, and like that was kind of the style that they want me to go for. So I started off kind of going for the style, but still doing it, and then eventually it got like a couple of weeks down the line, they were getting really pissy about it. Like they were just like, they basically said, can you just copy this thing? And I was at a point where I wasn't getting paid enough, and it was stressing me out, and I had uni stuff on, so I just basically ripped off this bit of work, which I'm not particularly proud of, and it's a shame because it's a big client and it would be great to put on my CV, but I just on my portfolio, but I just can't do it because it's not cool.
It's generally like what I was trying. I would be trying something different.
Right.
So I would be trying to get the client to do something kind of out of the box or not normal, and it's a nervous moment when you're showing them, or when you send them an email. You're like waiting for the reply whether they'll like it or not, or you think you've come up with a great idea, and then they come back and they're like, oh well, no, we can't do that because we can't print that, or we don't have the money to print that. That's annoying. That can get annoying. But I think if you really believe in the idea, you have to push it. Like the client at the end of the day isn't a designer. Like they're paying you to be a designer. You have to take what they've given you in a brief, if it's just text, and you have to translate that into a design, and that's your job. You're between those 2 points. It annoys me all the time. Like it's actually becomes a pain. Like I'm much more interested in trying to get to a best solution for a problem, rather than just doing what the person wants. Then you're just a monkey then.
I don't think you can force your opinion on someone who's paid to make those decisions. You can definitely tell them what you think. I wouldn't say I've lowered my standards, but I've done stuff that, is equally as difficult, as taxing to do, but I don't really think necessarily has the same effect, or doesn't read as well, or doesn't convey the message quite as well. But often I'll let them know. Sometimes I'll just let it go.
both things have happened. I've had positive situations where it's come out in the end and the thing got produced and they were delighted and I was delighted, and they're the best projects when you manage to change the client's mind about what they originally wanted to do. It can be so much more rewarding than just doing what they asked you to do and kind of fulfilling a brief. It's always nice to go that little bit further. So I don't know. I think that's really important. Like, you should always try and like strive to do that just that little bit extra. I mean, pay again. Like, even now, I still charge per job, and that gives me the freedom of putting as much time as I suppose I want to put into it. And when I started off again, the thing I kind of always said to people was, I'll work I want to make you the client happy, so I will work until that happens. And that worked out in some cases, but then people take advantage of you, and you learn what those people are like, and you learn not to, like, people come back with a million changes.
Yeah.
And that are their own fault. Like, I just won't accept that at all. Now it's, without question, it's like, no, well, you're either paying more for it or I don't care, I'll see you later.
Okay, it's like, obviously it's really nice when you get a nice big paycheck, but if the client's a nightmare, then it's not worth it. I'd rather just have fun with it, really. For now, while I'm young, I don't really need the money that much.
I would also just work for a flat fee for the people that I was charging, so it would be X amount, and for no matter how long it took me, that's how long I would spend on it. So some things would take 3 days, but I would still get the same amount of money. And when I was starting off, it was actually really good, because it meant that it was on me that I wanted to provide the best
I mean, you make compromises with money. I mean, I've done stuff for people who I think might be beneficial to be kind of friendly with for less money, but you can end up getting yourself a little bit fucked over like that, especially doing work for friends. It's very easy to keep getting roped into doing stuff for next to nothing.
I think that I very rarely speak to clients. The account managers do. It's just explained to the account managers, who then have to explain to their clients. That's sometimes that's the annoying bit. But they should be learning that sort of stuff. And a lot of the time it's frustrating, because I think they should know that stuff. They should know the stuff. They don't, and he's told them hundreds of times before.
I think it's really important for, like, if you're, like, you have to have design integrity. I mean, it goes without saying. You should always strive to be a better designer. So I will always look at my past work as being my past work, and like, I always want the next thing always has to be better. I'll always start with a blank canvas or a blank file, and I've done that since the start, and that's just to force me to not have a kind of a repetitive style, or not to repeat things. Again, it's just just for learning more than anything else. I think as I get older and mature, I'll probably develop an ego. I hope I don't. I think you do definitely. You have to believe in yourself, or else how do you expect a client to believe in your ideas? You're going in and you're essentially selling yourself, and you're telling them that you're going to communicate what they want the best way that you possibly can. And I think it's if you don't have self-confidence in that respect, then you probably won't be a very good designer.
I don't know about integrity. I'm well aware of the dangers of undercharging and how it affects the industry, and I don't want to undercut anyone, but at the same time, quite ambitious, and if I have to undercharge a little bit and it's going to get me ahead for now, then fuck it, because I'm at the point in my career where still very early, and hopefully one day soon, in the next few years, I'll be at a point where I can have a bit more integrity. But for now, I'm just kind of trying to get by and make friends and just get work. You know.